Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the On Time, On Target Morning Brief. Got a great show for you today. We have, let me turn some lights down in here. First of all, there we go. We're going to talk about the second wave fear that's going on. That's kind of dominating the headlines this morning, largely in Europe, but it's coming over to our market as well. We're going to talk about how to short the market. Some different options that you have there. For today's tickers, you can see them over my shoulder there. We're going to take a look at a few of those. For our day trading scorecard, our trade yesterday did work out. Worked out at about 9:32, so just about 32 minutes into the day is when it finally fell to the 3-hour point. When we left it, it was about down up 1.5 hour at the time, but so that's why we're doing this. Obviously, if you're interested in follow along the day trades, you'd be up 600 this week. If you're risking $100, you'd be up over 2,000. If you're risking 350, if you're interested in joining us live, you can do so for $25 a month. And with that, let's go ahead and get the show started. All right, good morning again. And here we have, I just put in the chat for you all, the longs and shorts that we're looking at today. Actually, no longs, only shorts. The first three are the primary, and then the second, the last one there. The fourth one, if you will, is the tertiary one we'll take a look at. So, all right. We're investing in military precision every day to make some money and to learn along the way. There's a group of us to get together in the morning. If you want to join us live, we already talked about that. For the folks that are here, make sure you have your chat window set up and your Q&A window set up. And standard disclaimer applies. This is the financial education briefing. You have to do your own due diligence before you act on anything you hear in this presentation. All right, mission objectives today on October 15th. I gotcha. Thank you for the feedback there on the music. All right. The mission objectives are going to grow our money, protect our money, and live off our money. Today, we're talking more protecting our money and the second wave fear, second wave obviously being the COVID that's going on in Europe, England in particular, doing some lockdown measures. That is getting everybody kind of excited and thinking, are we going to have to do that over here in the States? So you'll see the European markets are getting thrashed right now. You'll see that here in a few minutes. All right. As far as our flow today, long, short, open, short, long. You don't see the suggested shorts anywhere in the chat there. Let me paste them again. And there you go. You should see them now. All right. Let me know if you don't, though, and I'll have to try something else. Negative, nothing. Okay. Well, let me try one more thing. Gotcha. Switch error on my part. Here we go. There. Now you can see them. Thank you for the feedback there. All right. The market review we'll talk about. We'll go talk about headlines. There's the long-term investments. We're starting with the treasuries volatility. We'll talk gold and silver, and then the shorting mechanisms that are out there as funds. For our short-term scorecard, again, we took Monday off. We're up 3R on AMC. It took all day for us to get there. 3R yesterday on the Sorrento short. Again, 32 minutes in is when that, and I got a video that I'm going to put out here shortly to the channel, kind of capturing that, about 1.5 minutes long, just shows the entry and exit there. Contingencies are a standard. All right, let's take a look at the TD Ameritrade platform, Think Pipes. Here we are. This is a 1-year chart for the S&P 500 of note, going all the way over here to the, that's not the right one, share, and there we go. All right, 1 year S&P 500 chart that we have. Again, you know about the big dip back in March, huge recovery, dipped down about 10% in September there, and now since then has come all the way back until the past 3 days. Past 3 days have been down. I still think, according, going to the election, it'll be tough for us to maintain even the 320 level. If you've seen movement in your accounts, if you're a current client, you'll see an FIXD as a new fund that I'm going into out there. So that's starting to show up. Ask questions if you have any on that. I'm replacing the XPSXB. That's been a little too conservative for us. So FIXD allows you a little more, it's an opportunistic bond fund. So I like it a lot better. All right, so we'll see. That's obviously going to be like an 8% move down if we get to that level. So I do think that that is how things are trending going into the election. That is just my take. All right, let's take a look at the past 5 days. Again, straight up. And then this was the big, let's see, that was Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. So the first day of the week there, Monday, and then the big run up. So basically fallen ever since. You can see that the futures are down significantly here. As far as earnings, there's a lot out. Probably Morgan Stanley was the biggest up earnings this morning. Obviously they crushed earnings. So all the banks, the Goldman Sachs and JP and Morgan Stanley crushed earnings because they're investment banks, and then the retail banks are the ones that are kind of losing out. So that's what's going on in the earnings calendar. And then there's also Alcoa out this morning. They missed, and they're one of the shorts that we will take a look at. You can see over in the chat window. All right, there's the chart we'll come back to for our day trading piece. Let's go ahead and take a look at CNBC right now. We'll go around the world, starting with what's going on here in the States. Here's our futures. Refresh those real quick. You can see things are down over 1% across the board. So pretty ugly as far as the open there, but it's even uglier over in Europe, where things are down to almost 3% or over 3% in a couple of cases. So expect that it's around 11 o'clock our time. If you heard Kramer on the intro talking about when the European markets close, it will probably take their markets closing before we actually see the selling kind of stop in the US market, because it does bleed over. All right, Asian markets were off just a little bit, but not significantly. Here's our numbers from the other day. Again, VIX, or from yesterday, excuse me. VIX, we've talked about that, and it's spiking, and it's probably going to spike again today, but up 8% yesterday. VXX is how we play that. Notice everything is sold off, including bonds. So the bonds are moving down as well. When you look at oil moved down 4% yesterday. And when you look at the precious metals, they all moved down yesterday. So what's that an indication of is when everything moves down, that's simply people going to cash. The good news about people going to cash is it's like water, it sloshes out of the glass and it's got to go somewhere, right? So generally it comes sloshing back in. Will that happen in 3 to 4 weeks? Well, it will depend a lot on the results of the election, but that's kind of what's going on out there. All right, as far as the headlines themselves, again, really what U.S. market is waiting for is there going to be a stimulus deal or not? So we shall see. I used to think there was going to be one automatically. Now it appears that the sides are having no problem posturing all the way up into and through the election. But I do think we need some form of targeted stimulus out there. All right, repurposing malls has been going on significantly with Amazon. So there's a spear there, it's saying it's cutting its value up to 90%. Well, that's one person's opinion, but it is space that can be used for other things. All right, this will be the third day down. If you saw the jobless claims this morning, they were a little higher than anticipated, up almost close to 900 when around 800 was anticipated. So that'll parlay into probably a larger unemployment number tomorrow. And again, larger being bad there. This is pretty much all you hear across the news is the double-digit lead. We'll see if that's the case or not. Those things are notoriously hard to tell. Zoom has been in the news a lot lately. They've partnered with DocuSign, so now you can, from a Zoom meeting, push a contract in front of somebody real time and have them sign it real time. That's pretty big for when you're thinking, okay, I have a lot of paperwork and to do with folks. So that's pretty good capability. I'm pretty impressed by that. We shall see. The stock has run up ridiculously. Elon Musk cutting prices on his Tesla S twice in 1 week. A competitor out there, the name escapes me right now, dropped their price to 69,900, and he dropped his price to 69,420. Obviously, those numbers have different connotations, and 420 being the cannabis Canadian April 20th legalization day from way back when now. It seems like a while ago. But anyhow, him continuing to use juvenile humor in the workplace. All right, DraftKings is again in the news. So they've been selling off lately, really just profit taking. Coming in there. They are partnering with Turner Sports. All right, confirmation hearings I think went pretty well, so we'll see what happens now, but overall pretty strong performance, and I think the country kind of wanted that. You saw yesterday increase of 1.3%. And that's it for the headlines. All right, let's talk about shorting the market real quick. So the market's on the way down. So what can you do? Most people just sit and watch their portfolio drop. And largely that's the right thing to do. But if you do want to get fancy or try to, in my case, make some alpha on the way down, because I'm sitting here all day anyway, then there's certain things to take a look at. The first is if you do move to cash, you should not just let it sit in cash. We all know that. You should move it into something that will go inverse to the market. Well, I want you to look at this. Even in March, when everything was selling off, one thing was going higher, and that was U.S. Treasuries, which is G-bill, is an index fund with the Treasuries in it. So again, look at how this thing took off and went higher. And now that life has returned a little bit more normal. Again, selling off to back down to, it has kind of 100 as far as its base, and then you have a premium. Pays off monthly. You'll see that in the next chart. So it's just like a bank account. You accrue interest daily, pays out monthly, sort of thing. Another thing I wanted to show you real quick is the index fund SH. So again, this is simply shorting the SPY. So it's inverse. So it also went up. Now you're taking a lot of risk here when you short, but it also went up in the March-April timeframe, and then has been pretty much a straight loser ever since. So when you hop in these things, realize that you can't stay in them forever, because markets go up over time. So you do need to use them very judiciously, if you will. All right, let's go over to Schwab Advisor Center and take a look. Here in the upper left is the one I was talking about at G-bill. You can see the sawtooth of where the price resets with the dividend that comes out every month. So that is a pretty cool feature. And then you see it spike up here and then come all the way in. As far as the VXX, again, that's playing volatility. You saw the big spike back in the March timeframe. Kind of sold off. We had a big spike at the end of beginning of September when the market started selling off again to that 10%. Was people are wondering, is this the big crash before the election? So we shall see. So we had it back in here. I've had some price targets where I sold out around 30. I've dumped some of it recently. So it may all be gone, or you may only have a little bit of a piece left if you were in this. Gold and silver are always options for up to 10% of your portfolio. Don't necessarily need to be market timing instruments. But you can, if you want to go into the election, buy it and then sell it after the election. There's no historical precedent for that. So, but if you do feel the market's going down and you don't like shorting or just putting your money in treasuries, you can go into gold and silver. All right, here's your SH. That's the one we already looked at. So it went up to 33 and dropped down to 20. Anytime you have an index fund out there, there's some idiot, some genius that puts together a triple levered version of that. So if you want to make or lose money 3 times as much, and I say idiot, but it's right here on my sign, this side, kind of the how much risk do you want to take, 100 or 350. So that's kind of that, do you want the baseline risk or do you want to 3 times it? So I kind of get it. But with the SPXS, you can see it went up to 20, touch 20, and now it's already back down to 5. So it really can move. So if you get into something that's triple levered, stare at it every day and get back out of it when you can. So that's kind of my take on the triple levered stuff. Okay, that's enough for shorting the market. I want to show you there's really nothing long. All 5 longs that I had had some issues with them. So, and of course the market's on the way down today. I don't see a big reversal at the open, again, largely because the European markets are down so far. All right, so let's take a look at the shorts. We'll just look at the 4 that we have. VRTX, they had a drug in a phase 2 trial. That got paused and stopped altogether. Not only did they fail the phase 2 trial, they're stopping it, this particular drug altogether. So I have VRTX, it's down 15% right now. You know, that's outside of my normal window, but this thing has so much farther to fall. You know, it's really only gone from 292 down to 240. You know, most of that's today, but I think it has the distance to fall. And again, the 5 and 10% are based off of, if it's more than 10%, does it have time to continue to fall? I really think this does. So it's my number 1 short for the day, even though it's out of our parameters. If you want to stick within the parameters, we have 2 that qualify. The first one is NET. It is a sympathetic play with Fastly, who Fastly missed earnings earlier today. They kind of do the same thing. Missed earnings hard. Fastly's off 27% or more. Let's see, 29% now. You can see it over here on the screen. So this one, it does the same thing. It was at 61, dropping down to 56. 400,000 shares. So perfect setup for what we're looking for. So if we don't get a good entry on Vertex, or we might even take both of these because I like them both. All right, 3 minutes to go. Let's take a look at the next one is Alcoa. Alcoa missed earnings this morning. They were down 6% earlier. I don't see them on the chart here, but 13 down to just below 12. So here's where they are in the chart, 13 down to 12. Could this recapture all the way down to below 11.20? Yes, it could. These are heart of the envelope numbers for our strategy. The last one that's a little bit goofy, it fits our strategy, but I just can't figure out. I took 2 minutes to figure out even mildly what it does, and I can't. That's not good. So it's something to do with AMC, but it's a networks piece. You know, AMC is going straight down. So 24 down to 22.80. This was a headline of, can't read my own writing, but no, it's because it doesn't make sense. I read these Dutch auction things. I have no idea what it's talking about. We'll switch to this if we need to. I like the chart, but I just can't really tell what the headline is. So that's enough of that. Let's go get our trade set up. We have 2 minutes to go, so plenty of time. So you can set up entirely for short today. So if you've been trading in your IRA, you can close that out because we don't need that. I'm going to go off to the side and get smaller here while we take a look at this chart. Make it a little bigger on my screen and get things set up. All right, on the left, we have the SPY. We know that. We've got VRTX. There, we're on 5-minute charts. We'll switch that here in a second. NET in the middle. AA on the right. Let's get everything over to a minute. All right, so for your tickers, again, selling, you want to sell short in each of these accounts is what we're looking at. So we'll zoom in a little bit here. Yeah, we can zoom in more than that. Just kind of capture the previous traffic of where these were. Wow, that's straight down for AA. So shorts across the board. All right, here we go. Welcome to the on time, on target play of the day. We have 3 shorts we're taking a look at. We have the SPY, which is the market all the way off to the left. Again, down a couple of percent almost for the overall markets and trending down. In the left-hand panel here, we'll have VRTX down more than I normally want, down 14%. If we hop in that, though, it's going to be a pretty big stop, so just get ready. We have NET in the middle. That's also a short with about a 50-cent stop. And then we have AA, which is Alcoa off onto the right, also a short as well. So market is now open. You heard the bell. Got my laptop here ready to go in front of me. Again, I always look at the market first and glance at that. So it is continuing to sell off. VRTX is backing up. That's good for a short because that's some profit taking. So we'll get zoomed in here. All right, let's brighten this up just a touch. All right, 230 in VRTX. I'm actually kind of liking net a little better. So that's at 9%, 15% already, and then 10% over here in Alcoa. So net's going to be primary here. Let's look at an entry at doesn't seem to be moving a lot here. Well, for our entry over here on would be 227.40. I'm not calling that yet because I'm still trying to see what's going on with, well, boy, just not a lot to go off of here. All right, if we took it there with 55.80, again, math in public, so 55.90, 56.40 would take us up to here. All right, let's take it short. We're going to take net short at 55.90. It's in the middle of this congestion. We're on minute 2 of the market open. So we're watching this green little guy right here up at 56. 55.90 is going to be the entry. And I mark it in. Some people ask how I get these trades in. I just mark it into it with what I want for my trade. And there, man, I didn't click it, so I did not get it. I'm going to wait for it to move again and then go in. So if you're in it, stick with it. If I did not get it because I was dorking around typing, so it's going to be a 56.40 stop. So your stop's going to be all the way up here. It's going to be a 50-cent stop. There it is. Got into now, so 59 is the entry point. 55.90 is the entry point. Get the arrow drawn there. A little bit of congestion. There it drops down. I like that. So 55.90 up to 60. Well, it almost hit it. So 50. Can I see? 55.90 to 56.40 is right here. That's your upper stop. So it is flopping around. So we're in it again. We would be out if it hits 56.40. And boom, we are out. So -1R on that. Minus, it looks like 1.1R for me because I got a little bad exit there because I was looking away. So busted trade here. We aren't going to sweat that. We're still up 5 for the week off of that. I'm just looking over here at, I do kind of like the VRTX. Market's working against us, against the shorts. We'll keep looking at the VRTX. I don't anticipate going in to it. I'm going to get rid of Alcoa. I don't like it. And we'll look at some of the other, what was our next one? AMCX was the other short that we were taking a look at. And why aren't you typing? AMCX. All right, this one opened 22.75 down to 22 already, 7%. I just don't understand the storyline enough to be able to hop in here. So the move's already kind of been made. So you have to accept you missed that one. If you want this trade, it is setting up. It's going to be a, do my math better this time. It's a $3 stop, and you would take it at 22.96 here. I'll draw it, but I'm not taking it. You see how it's got some resistance here at 20.30, so you want to wait for it to break that and then take it on the way down. So this means there's a buyer there at that 20.30 point, and once that buyer gets exhausted, then it's going to basically strike down from there. That's what you're looking for as far as the entry. So it's like selling, somebody buys up the extra, selling, buys up the extra. Some people buy it right here when they see this action, because sometimes it'll strike down past your entry point. Again, this will be a $3 stop. Let me go ahead and draw it in there. So it will be a short. I'm not in it, and I'm not taking it myself, but if it does come in, and then you're up at 2.30, $3, so 233. So it's off the chart up here at the top. So it clears the high of the day if that drops off there. All right, net has really backed up, so must be something going on there. Let's get rid of that and see what Luckin's doing today. Kind of transition out of our day trading mode since I'm not going to take that trade. Luckin down about 5%. That's no good. Let's take a look at what else is in play on the big screen. Anything in the green. Clickstream's in the green. DraftKings is barely in the green. Everything DOC is in the green. Everything else is in the red. So a lot of red out there. All right, let's take a look at, again, if you want in this trade, you're taking it at 29.60 south. I'm not in it, and we're not going to score it for the room. All right, let's take a look at won't let me leave this chart. So I'm going to stop sharing in a minute and share it back out and see if that can unfreeze it. Guess we won't look at the long names today. All right, I'll use a different screen for that. We'll leave this up in here. Is this frozen completely? It kind of looks like it is. So we won't worry about that. All right, since we're not in the trade anyway. All right, on the big board, Apple's down a little bit. Percent. BP, man, that stock has been crushed. All the energy names have been crushed, so down 4%. Glad we left those a while ago. Valero down, GoDaddy down 3%, Boeing down a couple percent. Boeing's been doing pretty well recently. A couple of the Chinese stocks are down a couple percent. CGC, which is a marijuana name, down a couple percent. Yeah, so pretty much down across the board, only a couple names in the green. All right, let's last thing we'll talk about is the academic piece of how to short the market, which is this page right here. Most people do two things. So you can think of actually going through and shorting the market, which is where you are actively betting against it. When you do it with the index fund, you're actually against the whole market. So it's kind of like buying the SPY goes long, you buy the SH and you go short. Well, another way to do it is to buy puts. Puts is like buying insurance, and a lot of times the math is still the same, but a lot of people don't want to get aggressively short in the market because you kind of have to be right twice. Where if you just buy insurance and it's more expensive, and that's why options have a premium, and you know we sell options, we don't generally buy them. But when you buy puts, they're saying, you know, it'll even say here in a very reputable source, Investopedia, that buying a put option gives the buyer the right to sell the underlying asset at a price stated in the option, with the maximum loss being the premium paid for the option. That line is sold all the time. I mean, you can literally hear it on TV when people are talking about option strategy. So let's talk Apple sitting at 119. So if you buy insurance for Apple at 119, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg, meaning it's not affordable. for you to be able to, you're probably going to pay $15 a share. So $1,500 to insure 100 shares. What? You would never do that for it to go short. So what you're really going to do is insure it somewhere down around maybe 100. You're like, I could handle it if my Apple goes from 119 down to 110. I don't like it, but okay, don't care. It was just at 110 like 3 weeks ago anyway. If it goes down to 105, that would start to annoy me. But if it dropped below 100, that would kind of piss me off. So I'm going to buy a put option that insures my losses below 100. Okay, well, back to this statement. Buying a put option, yeah, it gives you that right. Maximum loss being the premium paid for the option. Except it's also $20 a share, because you've already lost that much money, and then the cost of the option. So if it drops down below, say it costs you $4 for this option, so you could lose $20 a share as it goes to 100, and then you still don't break even until it goes down below 96 because you already paid $4 a share. So folks will tell you if your portfolio is the biggest thing you ever have in your life, which for most people it is. It gets bigger than your house at some point in your life, and then significantly bigger if you invest long enough. Is that, well, why wouldn't you have insurance on that? And it's just like, well, that's not really the same. So those are people out there that are selling these options, which again, we sell them. So it's what we do too. But I'm not out there marketing to folks telling them to buy it, because I think it's stupid for them to buy it. So I would much rather be active with either shorting or going to cash than actually trying to buy puts on certain positions out there. So anyhow, if you want to get into the math, go to the Investopedia page here, and you can go all the way down to the bottom, and it will give you a Tesla short example. Ooh, love that one. Assume you sold short at 177.92. And Tesla, you can tell dated, the Tesla's at 453 right now. Yeah, okay. And this was probably pre-split. So very dated example, but the math holds on whether you sell it short or whether you buy puts. Obviously, if you sell Tesla short or anything, your max loss is uncapped, right? You could lose a ton of money, more than 100%. So you have to pay attention to what you're doing. And if you short something that pays a dividend, oh, by the way, you have to pay that dividend. So don't forget that too. So that's what I've got for you today. Thanks for hanging in there with some technological issues I had. Let's check back to our trade real quick, if I can, on TD Ameritrade. Not our trade. We busted out of this one. Just seeing if this works. It's still frozen. So that kind of day. All right. You guys enjoy your Thursday. We will catch you guys tomorrow morning.